Welcome to AstroTea, everyone. This is your weekly astro forecast that we host on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. BST, to take a closer look at the transits and the cosmic energy of the week ahead. So go ahead and join the Astro fam. Stay connected because there's a lot more to come. And we also have the 2023-24 astrological calendar. It's so beautiful to see how you guys are enjoying this. This is going to be your bestie for the next year of zodiac signs, and this calendar is actually broken up into zodiac seasons instead of the Gregorian calendar months, so that you can align with nature and the seasons with the major planetary transits. We also have new and full moon dates in there, chakras, body parts, and the tarot. So if you haven't already, go ahead and join our group and our email list, and don't forget to purchase your astrological calendar and a copy of the AstroTea journal. Just click the link at the top of the room so that you can access all the exclusive tea. Hey Soul!
I'm so excited for you to continue to enjoy it and let us know about the calendar. And what we're going to do is we're going to run through the transits of the upcoming week from the perspective of astrology and the tarot, and then we'll have a conversation on stage at the end. So anything that you want to share, we'll get to your comments throughout the episode, and then we'll open it up for conversation and discussion. We've had a lot of moon transits for the past 2 weeks, so we're finally shifting out of that this week. We have a pretty eventful week. I would say it's the second most eventful week in April so far of this new astrological calendar year. So starting off with Monday, April 17th, we have the moon in Pisces is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So this is a very powerful visualization and manifestation energy that we have coming in at the beginning of the week as we prepare for a new moon this week, as well as the sun entering Taurus. So some questions to think about is, what do we believe is possible? Where can we extend more compassion? And in what areas of our life have we been playing small and attempting to limit spirit from taking us to levels beyond our conceivable imagination? This is a great day for stillness and meditation, especially near a source of water. So whether you have a fountain, a pool, a creek, a river, a lake, or you have the blessing of being close to an ocean, let peace still us into listening to the messages that there are for us to receive on this day. And this is a very heightened and powerful day in terms of our intuitive gifts. Our intuition will be heightened with this moon conjuncting Neptune. So we're able to see through the fog, right? We may have revelations about situations that were once cloudy to us, but keep in mind that as well as our intuitive gifts being heightened, our escape artist tendencies will also be high today. So some people may be running from and avoiding the gift of clarity and discernment, because it is important, like regardless of what we see beyond the veil and behind the veil, it's important to see that as a gift, the gift of seeing, the gift of clarity. So there's a lot of power right now in the subtle and seemingly invisible details right now, right? The way in which spirit is working in the background. There's power in being able to recognize that clarity. So it's up to us whether we align ourselves to catch the clues and put them together to reveal a priceless treasure map. This moon day is a great day to tap into our creative abilities as well. So whether it's music, art, dance, spell work, rituals, reading, whatever it is that makes us feel connected to our divine creative abilities. And overall, it's a very slow, dreamy, and intuitively centered start to the week that's going to guide us into flow to embrace these magnetic opportunities that we have later this week that we're going to talk about. So that's what I have for Monday. What does this conjunction with the moon and Neptune look like in the tarot?
Yes, so for Monday, we have the moon in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And in the tarot, this is the 9 of Cups conjunct the 8 of Cups energy. And today's forecast is a beautiful transit to enter the week. With the 9 of Cups, there are these feelings of fulfillment here for some of you, but also focusing on honing in on what exactly makes you feel fulfilled. So focusing on that as we enter this new week, what makes me feel emotionally fulfilled? Like all of my needs are being met, like I'm being emotionally understood by the people in my surroundings. With this conjoining that the 9 of Cups is having with the 8 of Cups on this day, this is making decisions that show that you have learned past emotional lessons and that you're able to walk away from situations with the 8 of Cups that will possibly take more energy from you than you want. Kind of like a black hole. Like in this picture, it looks like a black sun, like a black hole that's just gonna like suck everything into it, into this vortex, right? Never to be seen again type energy. So because there is this focus on fulfillment as a collective today, we're more focused on making the changes that will get us closer to vibrating on a frequency that is constantly like this 9 of Cups, hydrating and nourishing to us. And this moon day, you know, there could be decisions to move forward towards spaces where you can have the level of peace required to cultivate and really master your own emotional fulfillment. So I definitely see those decisions being made on Monday to open up the week. Let's go ahead and get into Tuesday, Soul.
So for Tuesday, we have a change of pace, right? So for those who have felt like, oh, it's just moving slow, what's going on? Y'all are going to get what you asked for, right? We have a very abrupt change of pace on this Mars day where we have the moon in Aries, sextile Venus in Gemini. So we have the mutable air of Gemini fanning the flames of cardinal fire energy that is Aries, right? So remember, when we have transits that involve the moon, so in this case we have the moon in Aries and Venus in Gemini, the moon is the one receiving information from the other planet that it's aspecting. So in this case, Venus in Gemini is bringing duality, flexibility, mental astuteness, and the gift of gab to the passionate, fiery, determined nature of Aries. So Venus is giving us several lucrative possibilities of where to direct our passion and our energy during this time, and it's really important for us to execute on communicative and social matters this week, especially, you know, today if we can, before Mercury goes retrograde this week. And today is a perfect day to send out emails, to initiate conversations, to make those phone calls that, you know, that you've been putting off. Anything that has to do with communication with this Venus and Gemini, like not only will you get a lot of value and spend time with people that you value in your life, but I also feel like being able to express and assert yourself for like who you are and honestly and transparently through communication could bring up very like lucrative opportunities and possibilities as well. So there's power in speaking up about who you are and what you need to transform your life at this moment in time. We have the moon in Aries is in the 12th house of the sun, right? So being able to, maybe people can't see you clearly, so doing them the favor of like, oh, you can't see me clearly? Here, I'm gonna show you exactly who I am. I'm gonna show you exactly what type of time I'm on, what my intentions and motivations are, right? But doing so in a strategic way as well, because this is happening at 8 degrees, which is a Scorpio degree. So have a plan, have tact, and that's where I speak to the transformative nature of this day. If we're able to show ourselves for who we are and communicate that through conversation, we're going to be given opportunities to receive that will help to advance us or transform us in some way, shape, or form. So although Venus in Gemini is a very mentally and socially active transit, it's important to speak and act decisively and to not allow overthinking and willful distractions to get in our way of self-advancement. So I say willful distractions to kind of juxtapose with divine redirection, because Venus in Gemini is definitely about divine redirection as well. It's like, I know that you were supposed to do this today, but like open this book, call this person, do this thing, read this article. Sometimes spirit puts those things in our hearts, and Venus in Gemini is definitely a transit that we can get a lot of value with our relationship with spirit through this divine redirection, but that is not the same as willful distraction of like, I'm finding anything that I can to preoccupy myself from doing what I really, really got to do, right? There's nuance in that difference, and it's a very important difference to distinguish, right? And I strongly feel that allowing ourselves to be seen today will quickly manifest the energy to receive dynamic support, especially in the form of opportunities that allow us to share resources, information, and personal stories from our overflowing cup of self-value to other people and communities and spaces. So yeah, definitely a change of pace for Monday's energy, but we're going to keep this momentum throughout the rest of the week. So we'll get to that. So what does this look like in the tarot for you, Empress, for Tuesday's energy?
Yeah, I definitely agree. There is a picking up of the pace, a changing of the pace. And I also love what you mentioned about willful distraction. That's definitely something to look out for as we're closing Aries season. So for Tuesday, we actually have the moon in Aries sextile Venus in Gemini. And in the tarot, this is the high priestess in the emperor and queen of wands energy, sextiling the 9 of swords. And so Tuesday's forecast is kind of like how I was seeing it was like the first of a 3-day saga with the moon in Aries. That's going to end with the solar eclipse and also the second new moon in Aries. And when the high priestess is visiting the emperor and the queen of wands with this moon in Aries, she's asking us to take a deeper look at what emotions are powering our actions at this time. What emotions actually fuel the actions that you're taking right now? With the 9 of swords, sextiling this introspective point on a Mars day, because Tuesday is a Mars day, this is bringing up any regrets, any of those past failures, any hurt or secrets, perhaps with the high priestess, any arguments and unresolved conflicts that are currently in the mental space, right? That Gemini energy, communication, right? The air element. So it's affecting our communication with ourselves and others, having this going on in our mental space. And it's affecting our ability to sleep for some of us because our minds keep running, right? And our ability to feel that we're worthy of pampering ourselves with Venus and Gemini, that we're worthy of gifts, that we're worthy of a good life because of guilt about our past are some of the things that can be going on in the mental space at this time. This could also be someone that potentially wants to come towards you and tell you how beautiful you are with Venus and Gemini, right? That communication, how they want to get to know you more, how they have passionate feelings for you that they don't want to hide anymore. And this is literally days before Mercury retrograde, you know? So this could be a point in the week where you start to see momentum literally picking up when it comes to that sector of your life. And so this could be that as well for some of you, you know, passionate feelings. Today's also helping to lessen the heaviness of the new moon that's about to come up with this solar eclipse by encouraging you to speak up, right? To heal, to let go coming into this new moon. So definitely a lot to just notice emotionally with our actions and the fuel to our actions today. Definitely introspective as we're building up to the solar eclipse, but I'll leave it there. Let's get into Wednesday, Soul.
So Wednesday, Mercury Day, we're continuing with this moon in Aries energy. We have on Wednesday, April 19th, the moon in Aries will be conjunct Chiron in Aries, and this is happening at 16 degrees. So both will be conjunct at 16 degrees Aries, and 16 degrees is a Cancer degree when we talk about degree theory and astrology. So we're winding down to the last full day of Aries season. Can y'all believe it? We're done. We're finally gonna get into Taurus season. I can't even say finally because it went by really fast. Like finally would be like, oh wow, it took forever. But like I really felt like Aries energy, of course, in true Aries fashion, was here 1 minute, gone the next. So we're in the last full day of Aries season. So consider this to be a test of whether or not we've mastered the lessons that Aries energy has brought to us at this time. We have the moon and Chiron in the 12th house of the sun, which points to the healing power of self-compassion, having the courage to move forward with our lives in spite of guilt and shame, and allowing spirit to reveal to us what we still have to heal from and let go of. Healing can really be as simple as accepting every part of ourselves, especially the contradictions, the vices, the destructive habits, and the self-victimization. We're spirits having a human experience, so it's imperative to honor both and keep them in a harmonious balance. We may be presented with an opportunity where someone actually seeks healing and counsel from us. And just by being in a position to speak on what we've been asked about is an opportunity to see how far we've come, how much we've healed, and how wise and resilient we are. And that now the universe has put us in a position to guide others through the hellfire and the suffering that we've navigated through so courageously and with so much strength, right? So, just an opportunity like that, like something that, let's just say, for example, I don't know why this came to my mind, but it might resonate for someone, like divorce, right? Let's say you went through a very challenging divorce. It was very emotionally turbulent and traumatic, and you found yourself at this crossroads of like, where am I at in life? What am I doing, right? And maybe 2, 3, 5 years have passed, and on this day someone comes up to you, a friend is like, hey, look, like, my husband or my wife, my partner and I, we're getting a divorce. And like, they come to you, maybe they don't come to you knowing that you've had a divorce, maybe they do, but just that significance of them at the beginning of this journey coming to you to either express those emotions or look to you for guidance. Hey, I know that you went through this. How did you get through it? What did you do? How did you come out on the other side? Just that will be able to show you, wow, like, I'm not where I was day one. Like, I've healed from this. I've moved on. Maybe you're in a new relationship now. I've found love after loss, like just sort of examples like that of just the question, the ask, the serendipity, the synchronicity of someone coming to you about something that you've already made progress in your healing. It's going to give you an opportunity to say, wow, not only have I healed, but now Spirit has put me in a position of favor to really guide and speak to other people just by, testifying to my personal experience. So lastly, on this day, we'll definitely know where there's room for healing based on what triggers us emotionally today. With the fact that this is happening at a Cancer degree, I think that is going to help us identify that our sensitive trigger points reveal where we are defensive about past hurt that we've experienced. So anything that gets us like emotionally riled up is an indicator. It's important to do our best to understand that triggers are an opportunity for self-reflection and self-awareness on this day to help gauge us, like, okay, these are the things I've grown from, these are the things that still irk me, that still bother me, that there's still room for growth and acceptance. So that's what I was getting for Wednesday's energy. I'm excited to hear what this looks like from the tarot's perspective, Empress.
Yes, I was getting such a similar message in the tarot, and I love this. I love when we cross hairs like this. So for Wednesday, with the moon in Aries conjunct Chiron in Aries in the tarot, this is the high priestess in the energy of the Emperor and the Queen of Wands conjunct Chiron in the Emperor and Queen of Wands energy as well. And today's forecast is day 2 of that moon in Aries saga that I mentioned started yesterday. And today the moon is conjunct Chiron. Today's a day to celebrate your growth and really write down, talk about, or reflect on the deepest wounds that you have experienced this lifetime and how you have tended to that wound. And whether your tending of the wound actually prevented infection, or your tending of the wound or lack of attention to the wound brought on infection, right? Infection that could have stemmed from the wound in one area of your body or one area of your life to other parts of your life because it went untreated and there wasn't the proper attention given to that wound. So there may be passionate conversations that really reveal someone's true feelings towards you today or towards a situation that you've both experienced. So I really love what you mentioned, Soul, about divorce and how someone may reach out to you, even unbeknownst to them, of your similarity in the situation. And it's a deep passionate conversation that has to do with feelings and love and potential wounds that might be, still open for them or yourself. So give yourself permission today, even if some time has passed, to give attention to your wounds today. Also, look at the root cause of some of the infections or emotional trauma that you feel like you have. When, Soul mentioned being mindful of our sensitive trigger points and how they reveal things that need to be worked on. When you said that, I was like, yeah, the wounds, right? Your soft spots. Whenever you're hurt in a specific area, if there's too much irritation or touching or movement there, then it doesn't feel good. Right? So look at the root cause of some of the trauma that you have, or the emotional challenges or sensitivities that come up for you. What's the root cause of them? You might need to get back to the wound that actually caused that situation and treat that in order to cure yourself and heal, right? Or at least get the wound to a point where it's not open, So really love this day. Solar eclipse is tomorrow at this point in the week. Let's get to it, Soul.
We have two things going on. We'll talk about the solar eclipse, new moon in Aries, and then I'll pass it back to you, Empress, and then we'll talk about the sun going into Taurus. So for Thursday, April 20th, happy 420, you know what I'm saying, to everyone who partakes and celebrates. We got the second new moon in Aries. Remember, at the beginning of the astrological year, we talked about how we would actually have 2 new moons in Aries this year, and that the solar eclipse is going to be in Aries because we are preparing to shift into the nodes being in Aries and Libra later on this year in July. So that's why the eclipses this year will now happen in Aries and Libra. We noticed that last year where we had the eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio because that's where the nodes were, right? So this is our second new moon in Aries. The first one was at 0 degrees Aries, right? Fresh, spanking new. And now we have the second new moon at 29 degrees Aries. So it's a very beautiful full circle moment that is just as much about endings as it is about beginnings, because we are at the end of Aries season. We are welcoming in the sun in Taurus, but we're also in a new moon, right? And we're also going to approach a new season, a new nodal shift, right? There's a lot of beginnings and endings. So I really love how benevolent the universe can be at times. And to me, I was thinking, like, I just kept hearing, like, this is the no child left behind day, right? Because spirit is like, listen, if y'all ain't get it by now, all right, come here, just sit down. All right, let me give y'all one more opportunity. I'm not gonna leave you behind on the struggle bus. We're gonna sit down. I'm gonna get you up to speed with the program. I'm gonna let you know what's going on, right? It's like showing us how even if we didn't get it, there's more chances for us to get it, for us to want to do better, want to be better, to come into greater awareness and understanding. Like, Spirit's not ready to leave us behind just yet, okay? Just yet, right? We have a second new moon in Aries, which is not only a test, right, as a continuation of what we talked about with the moon conjunct Chiron was definitely a test. This is like this is like midterm season, right? Not only is this a test to see what have we mastered during this time, but as we shift into Taurus energy, it's about applicability, right? What has been born out of this time that will be nurtured, cared for, and sustained during Taurus season. And it's an emphasis on how important a mastery and understanding of Aries energy will be for the next few years, starting with that North Node going into Aries this summer. And this is like the teacher saying, remember this because it's going to be on the final exam. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I would write this down because it might be on the exam. Like, it's kind of, this is that reminder. This is the notice that we can't say, like, what? I didn't know. What you talking about? What are we going through, right? Because not only is this a really helpful reminder for the nodes going into Aries and Libra, but also within the next few years, we're going to have Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries. Chiron is staying in Aries. Chiron ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So, like, a lot of these major longer term transits especially the taskmaster and the disciplinarian of Saturn, and the glamour, sometimes disillusionment of Neptune going into Aries as well. It's really important for us to get clear on like, where is Aries in our chart? What planets do we have there? Do we have any planets squaring it? Do we have any planets opposing it? Like, really get to know the Aries portion of your chart starting now, because we're going to need it for the next few years to come, okay? So eclipses are times of revelation, and this current solar eclipse is occurring, yes, at the final degrees of Aries, but it is still a new moon, right? And it comes with all of that potential for a blank slate and new opportunities, which is why I said, so with this new opportunity, with the second chance that we're getting, what is going to be birthed out of this portal? What are we going to sustain and tend to and nurture and care for and study and remain committed to in Taurus season? So consider this a preview of future events. We might be feeling shaken up because, again, it is an eclipse as well. It's not just a regular new moon. We might be feeling shaken up, chaotic. We might have excess energy racing through our bodies, which makes it hard to sit still or think clearly. So it's really important for us to cultivate stillness and inner peace as we make it through this portal of energy. This new moon solar eclipse will also be conjunct the nodes loosely, right? The nodes will be at the beginning degrees of Taurus, and this will be at 29 degrees Aries, so it's a loose conjunction with the nodes. And it's also going to be squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So this closing and opening of chapters signifies massive transformations for our society and collective consciousness, in addition to cellular, genetic, and even subatomic renewals within each of us. So stay tuned for our new moon in Aries email going out this week, where we'll talk a little bit more about the astrology, specifics of this transit. But I at least wanted to give a general overview of why it's so important for us to be aware of what is coming up, what are we being taught or instructed to develop, because Aries energy is going to be a major theme of the next 10 plus years. So it's very, very important. So with that, I'll pass it over to you, Empress, and then we'll go back to talking about the sun entering Taurus, which is actually also happening on this day.
Yes, really, really powerful time, guys. This is day 3 of the saga, the final day of the moon in Aries saga I was mentioning from Tuesday. And with this solar eclipse in Aries in the tarot, this is the High Priestess in the Emperor and Queen of Wands energy, conjunct the 3 of Wands. And again, we as a collective are getting a fiery cardinal blast from the 3 of Wands, just as the sun leaves Aries to enter Taurus. And this to me made me visualize a single firework launching into the night sky like a ball and then exploding right in the center of the sky with red and orange and white sparks. And this solar eclipse is an extra boost of encouragement from Aries to stay true to yourself going into Taurus season, keeping your plans for the spring season and this year in mind as you really engage more with the commerce and value as it relates to society. And so I love what you were saying, Soul, about, Spirit's like, if you don't have it by now, Spirit's just standing there while you're trying to climb the monkey bars, or, get across the monkey bars, and they're finally for some of us in the collective, they're like, let me hold your legs, just move your arms, grab each bar, So really providing that solar eclipse assistance to help boost us into alignment, right? Taurus season, you're going to be able to keep your plans, as I said. This is a boost that can bring forth sprouting in Taurus season. Remember, we're thinking of spring. This is the time where we plant seeds, but this is also the time where we see sprouts. We talked about that last week. We're looking around now and you see the little buds on the trees or flowers sprouting up, or the grasses, the sprouting is happening, right? And so this is a boost that can bring forth sprouting in Taurus season and the whole year sooner than expected, due to your diligence, due to your patience, due to your perseverance in certain things in your life creatively, and the sprouting of things in your life that you value and that you put energy towards the most are taking a front seat. So ask yourself, what do you want the topic of conversations to be when you're mingling with other people, when you're having conversations in your own head? Are they valuable conversations that can get me closer to my goal? Right? Is this relationship equally beneficial? Divine's really assisting us in creating that spark that's necessary to shift things forward towards our life purpose. And like Soul mentioned, this is going to be a theme. These Aries, Chiron has not budged. I swear to God, Chiron has not moved. We've been since we started AstroTea. Let's go there. Since we've launched AstroTea, Chiron has basically been in Aries. So Spirit has been relentless in us working on ourselves, working on our childhood hurt, working on healing ourselves, right? We've really been sitting here for a minute. And so now we should start seeing sprouts pop up in our lives, in those areas where we've been developing, where we've been practicing our superpowers, where we've been emotionally more aware, emotionally more mature, you know?
So yes, with the sun going into Taurus this day, I don't know about y'all, but even the sun is ready to rest and chill out for a little bit, because the sun is moving out of its exalted position in Aries into the fixed earth sign of Taurus. So like I said, exaltations, it's like you give your fullest power and energy and effort, but it does lend to exhaustion as well. So a lot of us we've felt that change of pace, right? I'm like, are y'all happy now? This change of pace that y'all wanted from Pisces season, like is a very palpable difference with the sun being in Aries. So we may have been stretched a lot, you know, our time, our energy, our attention, multitasking, starting new things, right? New partnerships, new ventures and things like that. So I feel like this is definitely a slower pace with the fact that we're shifting into not only fixed energy but earth energy. So it really is about stabilizing, about building, about committing, about diligence, right? And so this is a time to really get right with nature and also deepen our intimate relationship with our bodies during this time, right? Taking some more time to spend with spirit, with nature, and within ourselves to understand ourselves more, because Taurus is very sensual down to in a literal sense, because it does rule our five senses, which are our body's intuitive indicators of how we relate to the information that we receive, right? Hence Taurus being the feminine expression of Venus, the planet of relating and relationships. For Taurus to be the feminine expression of that is like, how are we receiving information or stimuli, right? We receive a message, we get goosebumps, or we get chills down our spine. We eat certain food and our body interprets that as salty or sweet or bitter or acidic or umami, right? It's how are we labeling and identifying and relating to these external pieces of information that we get. So that's what Taurus is about. How do we process and receive that information? So Taurus speaks to the benefit of material things that we receive and accumulate, how to maintain and increase our money while it's in our possession, right? And how all of this relates to our personal and psychological self-worth. Receiving compensation for our work and services is one thing, but to really be satisfied with the life that these things provide us with is another. This is a time for us to weigh our need for material things and for a spiritually fulfilling life. How can we utilize our possessions to improve our daily life without obstructing our spiritual growth and integrity? The second house, which is Taurus's natural dwelling place, it deals with the enhanced self-worth that we can access from being grateful and being spiritually guided. It's about the comfort and luxury that material possessions can give you, because what good is it if you can't enjoy it? You know what I'm saying? Right? What is the luxury and the self-care and the self-nurturing that can come as a byproduct of being financially abundant? So some themes that will pop up during Taurus season that will definitely go into a lot more detail. Expenses, finances, the stock market, investing, speculative gains, either changes or increase in one's salary, jewelry. We talked about this last year as well. Lost or misplaced jewelry, especially when the sun conjuncts Uranus in Taurus. Affordability and cost of living, right? We may see a further increase in the cost of goods. I'm already seeing more talks on the news about inflation and recession and interest rates and all that stuff. It's like, how can we also stay focused, right, on developing and cultivating our self-value despite what the external stimuli is, right? Banks, banking, bank accounts, biological research or discoveries, new cosmetic or skincare lines, campaigns featuring natural beauty, which we're already seeing that as well. A huge shift from very dramatic and drastic makeup to very flawless, natural, like that no makeup look, right? Conversations about fertility, which leads me to say definitely be cautious of sugar intake and overeating, right? With this change of pace and us going into a little slowing down, people might be like, ooh, like I could eat a little bit more, I could sit on the couch a little bit more, I could relax a little bit more. So just be mindful of that. And then also new furniture or home decor, maybe spending and investing some money on beautifying our space. And then also tax returns and return on investment. So thinking about too, we'll talk about this with Mercury retrograde in Taurus, but what with this refund that you got, what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to invest or reinvest that money to make you even more money, right? Those are conversations that we'll definitely be having more in Taurus season. So with that being said, Empress, definitely I want to hear your take on the sun going into Taurus.
Yes, I loved that. Especially increasing your money while it's in your pocket. That was something that definitely resonated for me as well as I was looking at the energy for this transit. So for the sun entering Taurus in the tarot, we have the sun entering the energy of the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles. And so first of all, happy Taurus season to all the sun placements in this sign. I hope you have a great Taurus season. And the Hierophant in the tarot has been fixed on his faith and sustained a committed relationship to faith and work. And others in the community also see this level of value in self that the Hierophant has and want to have that same value for themselves. So the Hierophant can be sought out as a teacher, especially in the spiritual and energetic teachings. And because the Hierophant is the fifth card in the major arcana and represents Taurus energy, this is a season to make changes to the way we experience feelings of value, feelings of worth, and certainty in ourselves. And with the King of Pentacles also representing Taurus energy in the tarot, this is you being able to really develop and sustain a frequency of abundance that aligns with your path and increases the stability and the connection that you have to divine. So by heightening your awareness to what this energy is promoting, what the sun entering the energy of the Hierophant and King of Pentacles, the sun entering Taurus, right? By heightening your awareness, right? Your senses, there are 5 senses to this. You can literally experience brighter, sunnier, happier days that have an increase in vibration, clarity, and confidence in your movements. And so this is also a time to get into your 5 senses, as I just said, and really and your development of your 5 senses and your preservation of your 5 senses. For some of us, communication or even coming into work, we have to always look at the computer screen. We have to look at our phones, all of these things, protecting and preserving our eyes, right? So investing in blue light glasses, right? Really valuing our bodies, valuing ourselves. So focused on investing in ourselves in ways that preserve our 5 senses, right? And your development of them. So like I said, the blue light glasses, but also exercising, right? looking at your body. Like Venus is in Gemini right now. None of you are about to sit here and tell me that you're not looking at yourself in the mirror, analyzing what your body looks like and how you feel about yourself in terms of your image, in terms of your beauty, right? This is that season. This is herbal peel season for all my girlies that know, for all the people that know, prepping the skin for summertime, right? So stretching right about now, stretching your body out. I would love to talk about fascia, you guys. I watched a documentary on fascia. It's basically the connective tissue that connects like everything in your body, but it's very interesting, the research that they've said about fascia and how it affects your movement and how it can excessively age you if the fascia doesn't stay youthful. So very interesting stuff, girl. We can get into that later. But also massages, right? Some of you guys are very much overdue on a massage, okay? You've been out there tilling the soil like Taurus, but you didn't come back in to get your rest and recuperation. And so you have a humpback, my dear. It's Taurus season. Venus is in Gemini. We have to get things together before Gemini season. You have to get things together before Libra season. So embracing opportunities to stretch, get massages, acknowledge your posture. If you're sitting at a desk all day, have something in place that helps you align your posture, right? Sit at the right chair. Invest or look up YouTube videos about Pilates to stretch your body out, right? Cooking, cook your own food, candles, incense, diffusers, essential oils, music, comfort, security, all these things are being highlighted during Taurus season. So keep your body moving this season and include in your manifestations with the solar eclipse a fresh, invigorating exercise routine, perhaps, a fresh nutritional plan or just a lifestyle plan overall where you are stretching and moving yourself regularly and investing in your own self-value. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'm going to get on Six of Pentacles in reverse with Mercury retrograde. So stay tuned until then. But that's what I'm seeing for today's energy with the sun entering Taurus. Let's get into tomorrow. So
I love that, the emphasis on wellness that you had as well, because I think Aries season was like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna get this done. And now Taurus is like, how can I add some decorum? How can I add some finesse to this? How can I still look good while doing this? So there is a change of pace. Like I feel like Aries is like, you're sweating, you look disheveled, you look out of breath, covered in dirt, soil, you were running outside, kind of because you had to get that work in. And now Taurus is like, maybe we can enjoy the AC a little bit. Maybe we could just do a light jog. Maybe we can do some stretching out by the water or like hiking. I think hiking is a great like Taurian activity because not only are you in nature, right, Taurus, it depends, right? Like I have my 6th house in Taurus, and something that I've said works really well for me is to have a designated place to work out. I personally don't like working out at home because I like to feel the energy and vibration of like, okay, the gym is a designated place to work out and like everybody else is there to do the same thing, and you feel the hormones and the adrenaline and you just get inspired. I don't like mixing the place where I like nap and rest and relax at home to then being my gym. I don't like that. But for Taurian people who like maybe the gym is not your flow, definitely get into like hiking or things like that, somewhere where you can go at your own pace. You don't have to run. You can kind of practice that diligence of Taurus of like one foot in front of the other to make it to the summit of this mountain and still be in nature while you're doing it. So that is like a really great workout activity for Taurus dominant people, right? How can you still keep it cute, right? So moving on to Friday, April 21st. This is the day that Ramadan ends, as well as we have Mercury retrograde in Taurus on this day. So something that I want to talk about for Mercury retrograde is that, first of all, it entered the shadow period on April 7th when Mercury was at 5 degrees Taurus. So we've already been experiencing Mercury in its shadow period. And all that means is that it's going through degrees that it'll eventually go back through as it goes retrograde. So like, for example, Mercury was at 5 degrees on April 7th. That means that even though it's going to continue in a forward motion, eventually the retrograde will go back through Taurus and end again at 5 degrees Taurus before it goes direct again. So that's what a shadow period means. It's like, what are the degrees that it's going to pass through once the planet is moving retrograde? So we've already been experiencing the shadow period. Mercury will be Kazemi on May 1st. Again, we'll talk about that in a few weeks, but it'll be in the heart of the sun at 11 degrees Taurus. So the sun will be very tightly conjunct Mercury. And then Mercury will be in the first house of the sun for now as it stations retrograde. So, and it's how fitting it is that it's stationing retrograde at 15 degrees, which is a Gemini degree, right? One of the signs that Mercury rules, which is kind of what I'm getting from Mercury retrograde in Taurus. So it's really about purifying, refining, and clarifying the mental chaos and activity that came through with Mercury being in Aries and the sun being in Aries. I remember we talked about this, that Aries was just like a playground of ideas, like epiphanies, downloads, like anything that you were excited about. Like, we were very creative in our thinking in Aries season. So I remember I told y'all a few weeks ago, I was like, it may not be the time to act on all of these things, right? But still write them down, nurture these ideas. Like, don't get deflated, like keep them stored, because with Taurus season, it's going to give us that discernment to be able to, okay, which ones are of a high priority, which ones am I going to tend to and nurture at this point. Right, Taurus has that strategic element of the fixed signs, especially with it being an earth sign. How can I make slow, committed, determined progress to get to this goal, to get to my final destination? So this is what Mercury retrograde in Taurus is about. I think some of us still need to get clarity on, like, what do we want to nurture of all these ideas, of all these prospective business ventures and opportunities that I was offered. Which ones align, which ones resonate, which ones feel good in my body, especially if you're a generator or a manifesting generator. Like, which ones of those activate your excitement, right? That you feel excited to say yes to and to respond to in a positive way. Like, really purifying and discerning that. And I think it's time for us, like I said, it's a time of clarity. It's a time to materialize. Like, I think this is actually a very interesting Mercury retrograde, because it's actually the time that we need to focus on, okay, what are we materializing? What are we building? What do I already have at our disposal? Taurus very much speaks to the resources that we already have, to be able to build, to be able to sustain the systems that will support even more coming in. But it's using what we have in order to create the infrastructure for the system. So what are those things? What are we good at? Especially if you're in the midst of a career change, or you want to add a new service to what you currently offer. Like, what are you good at? What are your transferable skills? What skills can you go back to, right? This, to me, somebody out there has like some online classes or something they haven't finished, right? You go ahead and finish that, right? Anything that is going to add value to your repertoire, add credibility, right? Even me, I'll call myself out. I felt called to, someone reached out to me the other day, and Spirit led me to tell her, like, that I do photography, right? She's a mental health advocate in Boston, so she does a lot of events around mental health. So I answered saying I'm very passionate about mental health as well, but Spirit was like, take it that extra step and say you do photography. I was like, okay, I guess. I was like, hey, I do photography as well. I'm a professional photographer, so if you ever need any photography for any events that you have coming up. And she's like, actually, yeah, I have a tentative date of May 12th for this event. Can you send over your portfolio? I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I understand why Spirit wanted me to say that, but that was also a lesson that I don't have a professional portfolio, so to speak, right? I use my Instagram. If you ever want to check it out, just let me know and I'll send it to you. But my photography Instagram is public, and that's what I use as my portfolio. But, you know, this is an opportunity for me, for example, to get some sort of website or landing page get my invoices ready to go, get clear on what are my prices, what am I going to charge, what are the logistics, how much time, how many photos come into that package, right? What are add-ons? Well, if you want me to do this and this is going to be this is this charge or up fee, right? So I just say that as an example, like that was an opportunity for me now, especially Taurus being the arts, right? For me to go back during this Mercury retrograde in Taurus and create the system, the infrastructure that is going to support an abundance of clients coming in. I have to be ready in order to take in that abundance. So what is that for you, right? What skills and ideas are you deciding and committing to cultivate during this time? And then how can we focus our mental attention on that? And maybe not releasing certain things. This is really like an internal introspective process for you to get that ready so that when Mercury does go direct, then you're able to like launch or actually do commerce or do business or partner with other people because you spent that time getting ready. So that's what I have for Friday's energy. Empress, what's your take on Mercury retrograde before we go into the weekend?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so juicy. And so for Friday, we have Ramadan ending on this day, and Mercury retrograde is happening in Taurus. In the tarot, this is a 6 of Pentacles in the reverse for Friday, April the 21st. And in order to really be able to show up for others, I feel like this transit, this retrograde period is helping us to realize that in order for us to really show up for others and do it at a sustainable and consistent level, it's a good idea to have a value system that you're committed to and are clear on, right? And if you're unable to value yourself, yeah, you know the rest. You'll have difficulty being able to recognize the value in others. And so during this Mercury retrograde, get to know the valuable parts of yourself and focus on working on that or those parts. Because by working on yourself, that will signal to the universe the type of people you need in your environment to match your value system. So know that you'll be exactly where you need to be at all times during this retrograde season, as long as your intention is based in you valuing yourself. And that sounds really easy, right? Then you should have it. You got this, you know? During this time, pamper yourself. Really invest in yourself more than you do in beauty products. Invest in yourself and your natural beauty more than you do in enhancers and cosmetic surgery. Because all types of communication can get lost in transport during this time, like your products arriving so late that you have to return them, or your nail, hair, lash, wax, facial, surgery, massage appointments getting delayed. But guess what? This is a kicker. Like, these are getting delayed intentionally by Spirit. Yes, intentionally at this time, so that you are forced to pamper yourself and show yourself love by doing the labor and saving your coins. Yes, right? So don't get vexed when the cancellations come. You know, remember this conversation and just teach yourself how to do it, sis. You know, with the Hierophant energy. Rewatch those YouTube videos you were watching in quarantine this time in 2020. Pull those back up. You know, we all know we made a playlist of some kind during that time, but pull that back up and revise, right? That time when you couldn't go outside and get your appointment and do all this, revise the skills that you had to learn on your own to value yourself, to build your skill set. Stop spending money on delivery and eating out because you're too lazy to cook or meal prep. Okay, I'm speaking to myself too on those days. We're human. We're all in this together. And if you always rely on someone to always cook for you, show yourself how much you value yourself and cook. Stop always looking to other people to provide your own sustenance and show some value to yourself. Put some respect on your own name. Put some respect on your neck, okay? Word to Taurus season, because the neck is the body part that's associated with. Okay, I'm getting a bit nerdy with it now, but still, okay? If you always rely on someone else to cook, show yourself some value. Cook for yourself, right? And if you're always the one getting cooked for, maybe this is a season for you to not only cook for yourself, but cook for others, right? A lot of us allow laziness to prevent us from perseverance. A lot of us allow laziness to prevent us from perseverance. All of our self-value is being reflected during this retrograde so that it will be apparent in how you feel about yourself. It's going to be no secret to yourself, to other people. They will see from you not taking care of your body that you don't care about your body. They will see from how you're declining all these events to go out for things that actually will help you advance your skill set and knowledge for things that you care about, because you won't be able to go because you would have spent all your money on Deliveroo. You know? So really invest in yourself. Invest in your natural beauty. Invest in enhancing yourself. Spend a lot more time in nature. Go for walks in the park. Like So mentioned, if you're someone that doesn't want to work out at home, like my Virgo is in my 4th house, so I can get work done at the house, boy. I can do, you know? So it just depends on your specific energy, right? What you like. But definitely spending time in nature is a good look, and it will help you to process a lot of what's coming up, a lot of the revision that's being caused, and it will help you to see more of that value in yourself through spending time alone, which is what the Hierophant has to do at times as well. So just do what it takes to look good based on your standard, so that you can feel good walking into Gemini season, communicating with the world, because it's coming. Gemini season is coming, and we're going to have to pop out. How are you going to look when you pop out? That's all I'm saying. Okay, so let's leave it there and get into Saturday. So
that was a whole word, and I appreciate that as well. And that's something that you and I have talked about before, is like, even from an energetic stance of having someone else like that you don't know prepare your food. Like, you don't know what vibration they're in when they're making your food. You don't know if they're cursing like, I hate this job, I hate this, if I have to make another order of this, I'm gonna kill myself, da, da, da. And then that energy is going into your food, you know what I mean? Or you can't control how much fat or how much oil or what kind of oils, how much salt, especially for people who have, you know, maybe not health concerns yet, but you know, certain things you're predisposed to at risk for, like managing your salt, managing how much fat is in your food. Like, you only really know what that is when you make it yourself, you know? So I love that you were saying that it's going to be apparent how much we value ourselves through like our actions, you know, through what we do and choose to like engage with and entertain during this time. And just like you said, Gemini season, even though we're back, remember, we're back in the personal aspects of the zodiac wheel, right? We talked about this when we went into Libra season. Libra through Pisces are the most social, external facing signs, or houses at least, in the zodiac wheel. And like, yes, we are in the area of like personal and intrapersonal development, but like Empress said, I feel like Gemini, that 3rd house space, is the first time where the self is interacting with a community or with a group or with like the sharing of information. So like, we are still in the personal development stage, but yes, like crossing into Gemini season, Gemini energy, which we can already see with Venus and Gemini, is bringing in a lot more of that, the self plus the value that the self has is being brought into a personal or an interpersonal space, a community type of space, a conversational type of space. So what are those conversations going to look like? And that goes into Saturday. As we go into the weekend, Saturday, April 22nd, it is also Earth Day. Happy Earth Day to my fellow tree huggers. You know what I'm saying? That's our day to thank Mother Nature for all that she does for us. So we have the moon in Gemini trining Pluto in Aquarius. So this is happening at 0 degrees. Again, Pluto is not a fast moving planet, so it's going to stay at 0 degrees for quite some time. So we have truthful feelings coming to the surface, and really Aquarius is bringing fixed diligence and responsibility to flighty, scattered Gemini, right? Because remember, when we talk about Aquarius, we have the Saturnian side of Aquarius that helps that fixed aspect. It's fixed air, so it has that Saturnian. It's fixed, it's responsible, it's diligent, it's committed. But it's also ruled by Uranus as well. So that's the part that is like, listen, Gemini, I'm with your chaos. I'm with the divine disorder. I'm with whatever it is that you got going on and how scattered it has to look in order to get to a finished product. I get you, but I'm going to bring it to the next level. I'm going to add some maturity. I'm going to add some expansion. I'm going to add some elevation to that, especially because we have the moon in Gemini in the first house of the sun, and Pluto in Aquarius is in the 9th house of the sun. So the 9th house is all about expansion, philosophy, spiritual growth, right? Maturity, especially intellectual development as well, higher education, right? So what kind of finesse and elevation can Aquarius bring to Gemini? Definitely elevating our social spaces, right? As we are just barely getting into Taurus season, but it's important to look ahead, right? As we're moving to Gemini season, Pluto and Aquarius is like, well, can your conversations be of greater quality? Can they be of greater substance? Can your friends be people that actually uplift and support you and want to build with you, right? Do you just have friends for a season? And of course, we all have different friends and different things, but are we investing in the friendships that are holding us accountable? The friendships that are not going to just be yes men? The friendships that tell you about yourself, but it's because they see the choices that you're making are not in alignment with the changes that you want to see. Aquarius, that's all of what Aquarius is about. So Pluto is bringing transformation and asking for a little bit more depth and substance from the more surface level ways that we've been approaching friendship and communication and interactions with other people. I think we've been taking it maybe a little bit too light, right? And Pluto and Aquarius is here to say, like, I'm still an air sign. I get you. We're going to keep it light, but can we refine? Can we have a strategy? Can we have more time with people who share similar ideologies, or people who are going to advance you, people who are smarter than you, people who are more advanced than you are in this in whatever area of life you want to grow in, right? It's giving like you've been around sheep or you've been around blind people and we're all trying to lead each other, when you can just find the sensei, you can find the master, and that's going to maybe trigger some of your intellectual insecurities. But do you want to learn this knowledge or not? Right? That's really what this is about. So as we are in the moon in Gemini, as we also have Venus in Gemini, take advantage. What are the types of conversations and interactions that are going to transform us and really bring value not only to ourselves, but now we have something of value to contribute to a greater community beyond ourselves as well. So that's what this day is bringing up to me. What does this look like in the tarot?
I love what you just said about getting to the strategy in relationships. And it made me think of like just the people that you can strategize with, you know, that just that energy in general. So I really love that. So for Saturday, April 22nd, it is Earth Day. It is also my sister's solar return. So if you're listening, Mickey, happy solar return. And in the astrology of it, it's the moon in Gemini trining Pluto in Aquarius. In the tarot, we have the High Priestess in the Lovers and the Knight of Voices or Knight of Swords energy, trining Judgment in the Star and King of Swords. And the High Priestess is visiting the Lovers and the Knight of Voices today, or the Knight of Swords. And the Lovers energy is creating, or the Lovers energy in the major arcana in general, is being able to create a loving space for harmony and differences and willingness to communicate emotions for that deeper connection and understanding. So today is a day for you to reflect on how you can learn to love the things that you cannot relate to. How can I learn to love something that I cannot relate to? How can I learn to express my view with compassion, grace, and consideration for the emotions of those outside of myself? You know, with Judgment in the Star here, some of you feel too much of others' emotions at times. You know, when you do have those moments where you put yourself out there, you're like, I'm an empath. I don't have time for these hoes. You know, I don't have time for HEAX. I don't have time for these people. You know, like everyone's sitting here wanting to project. I'm an empath. in this collective, this does not feel good, me putting myself out there, because that means I'm also less susceptible to the feelings of others, right? And so for some of you, that's why you hide your gifts or talents from the world. That's why you cloak yourself like this high priestess and keep yourself a secret, right? So you don't have to feel the judgment from other people that don't appreciate your gifts as much as you do, you know? It's like, oh, as soon as I put my artwork up on the sidewalk, as soon as someone says, ew, I don't like that, you're like, oh, and you run home, and go to the basement. But it's like, some of you don't have that ability to feel the judgment from others and keep it moving and still shine like the star energy. Okay, so sit with that on a day like today, right? You don't have to feel the judgment from others and use it as something to stifle your own gifts, right? With today's trine, awaken to the fact that we all have a responsibility to contribute our unique fingerprint and personality within the collective. That is all God and divine asks us for, or asks of us, right? Is to express ourselves, be ourselves. And then we have these constant assistive energies, cosmic energies that are always supporting us, right? No child left behind, like Soul said. We always have that, but that's the only thing that's asked of us, is for us to contribute our gifts. And guess what? Every single time in life, the people that you notice, whether it's someone that is older in their lifetime or they're a bit more youthful in their lifetime, whenever they are not aligned with their gifts or talents, they have more of a heaviness to them, right? There's more weight to their energy, to their aura, because of that misalignment that is happening, right? That disconnection from the spy-fi, that spiritual connection that I was mentioning earlier, and from Aquarius season, really, right? But we all have that responsibility to contribute our unique fingerprint and personality within the collective. So spend time in nature connecting with God today. Make decisions to have conversations that reveal your light and your truth to others. And I love what you mentioned, so about getting to refinement, getting a strategy down, and then actually mentally, like, yes, being light with it, but getting shit done with it at the same time within the collective, with the Aquarius energy. This can be a tough day, but it's necessary to be able to till the soil. Because when you till the soil, you break up that crusted, dry soil, right? You're able to mix nutrients into the soil and really prepare it for planting properly. So that process has to be gone through. So take this opportunity today, and let's wrap up the week with Sunday Soul.
So to close out the week, Sunday, April 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde in Taurus, sextile Mars in Cancer. So this is happening at a Gemini degree. And this is really it may be tough to reconcile or accept this energy, but it's a very beautiful lesson about some of us need to rethink about how does our sense of self-value fluctuate when we're in the presence of family or dealing with family related things. Is our family, are we blessed with a family that uplifts us and supports us, and we feel closest to the highest expression of ourselves when we're around family? Does that kind of wane? Do we feel like we are maybe not as spiritually in tune, and we are more about the financial and the material aspects? How do I provide for my family? How do I take care of my family? How do I secure and stabilize my family, right? And I think that some of us, especially creatives, entrepreneurs, business-oriented people, we have to remember the tough reality that, a lot of people say, if you're waiting on your family or your childhood friends to be your clientele and to be the number one supporters of your business, you are in for most likely a disappointment, right? Or those are not usually going to be your main supporters. A lot of people that are strangers, a lot of people that are meeting you for the first time, right? It doesn't take forever to recognize sunshine. People who have one interaction with you are asking, how can I support you? How can I, donate to you? How can I invest in you in ways that people who have known you your whole life are not doing that, right? And so I think that some of us, I want you all to know too, I'm definitely not of the culture of like, oh, just like leave your family behind. I think like, and I say that very generally speaking, right? I'm not speaking to situations of abuse or harm. And even those, again, person to person, have the ability to be reconciled with some sort of restorative justice practice that doesn't have to do like going back to being together and being in the same space and loving one another and being close, but just an acceptance of reconciliation. There was harm done, we addressed it, I apologize, and now we move on to seek fulfillment and happiness in our life, right? Whatever that arrangement or agreement looks like. I'm not of the kind of rugged individualist culture of like, oh, forget your family, they're just holding you back and you got to do it yourself. But I do feel that some of us are holding ourselves back because we're trying to get every single last family member, even the cousins that be scamming, the aunties that be praising white Jesus, right? Whoever it is, the people who are just not on our time and our frequency, we are delaying our trajectory by trying to get everybody on the same page because of that motivation for family oriented things. We want to be able to enjoy this wealth and abundance with our families, right? Who is this for if not for the people that got us to be in the position that we are today? But are we really truly seeing the value, right, that we bring, right? For example, my family, they are not really with the astrology stuff. And it was funny that a few months ago, I had a question from a family member that is like, oh, Nikki, like, what does this mean? Like when Mercury goes like retrograde and stuff like that. And so I try to explain it. And then there was kind of some shade about like, oh, people pay her for this. People actually like pay her to talk and answer these questions. And like, that stuff can hurt sometimes, right? Like, am I really in a place where people recognize and see my value? Do I have to justify or explain the value of being able to break down astrological information, right? As an example. So I do think that some of us need to go back to the drawing board of like, what is our motivating factor when the family is not giving what we would hope it would give based on how much energy we've invested, how much love, how much passion, how much determination we've invested in trying to get our family on the same page. And also notice like family can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It could be your chosen family as well, right? Which kind of goes back to Saturday's energy about Pluto and Aquarius. These could be the family members that you have that are family in spirit, family in value, family in virtue, because they see a similar idea of the future. Or family could also be the family that you are hoping to create someday as well. May not be the one you were born into, but it will be the one that you and another individual create, if not now or then in the future. What do you want your family to look like? So maybe you're kind of beating a dead horse hoping like, I want my family to change, when really the opportunity is in, this is the kind of family that I want to create. It's maybe not the one I had, but if it's on me, this is what I want to create and bring into this world. People who are accepting, people who do want to see you in the highest vibration of your spiritual assignment, all of those things. So that's what I have. It's tough. I think some of us are not clear on our self-value because the blinding determination that we have towards getting family on the same page, we're kind of feeling worn out. We're kind of feeling like the odd one out that people aren't really hearing. They like when we are around at the cookout, but the moment we start talking about self-elevation and financial security and bringing our family to the next level, all of a sudden, everyone want to play spades and Uno, and you're sitting at the table by yourself. You're like, what happened, right? So that's what I have. It's just, if you feel like you're hitting a wall, redirect the energy on maybe other family, chosen family, or knowing that you have the ability to create whatever family you want in the future for yourself. So that's what I have, Empress. You can close us out for Sunday's energy.
Yes, that was so beautiful. And Closing out the week, Sunday's energy just feels so simplistic to me. On Sunday, April 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde in Taurus, sextile Mars in Cancer, and in the tarot, this is the Six of Pentacles in the reverse, sextile the Three of Cups energy. And really simply said, just out the gate, compromising yourself for the group is very much a highlight for today. Compromising yourself, your own values, what you want to get out of the situation and how it can actually benefit you for the sake of what the group wants, right? Kind of being like outruled or overruled in certain situations in your life, in certain environments in your life. And so some of you, for some of us in the collective and all of us in certain areas, we need to show ourselves more value and let others know about the disharmony that we feel in the dynamic. You can feel a way about something, but the difference between showing value for yourself is being able to draw that boundary with someone else and speak up on that with someone else externally, right? So getting into that motion of actually doing that, expressing that, showing that value to yourself by communicating with others about the disharmony, Six of Pentacles in the reverse, that you feel in that dynamic where you're constantly having to compromise yourself for the sake of other people. And this could also be people that you work with, you always kind of being the one to have to do the most work. As Soul mentioned, the family dynamic, right? You having different perspectives and interests, you connecting spiritually with this Three of Cups in a different way, right? You having certain creative interests that are also not really with the Six of Materials in the reverse, seen, people don't see eye to eye with you in certain environments. Right? This could also be family that stifles your creativity and they keep you from emotional expression that's vital to your growth and alignment right now. So you really feeling, I know I'm imbalanced. I know that I need to put more time and energy and pour more value into myself and who I am right now. I'm being aligned with spirit. And this Three of Cups, focusing on these other people, having these other people in my environment, keeps me from being able to do that. And I feel like this is a vital moment in my life. Aries season, we just had the new moon in Aries where it's like I need to value myself and get these things done for my elevation. Also, the people that keep you from investing in yourself, there's an opportunity to really be able to fixate on new value systems. Those people that you're always having to pay for, your paycheck or certain allocations that you typically would think would be to yourself financially, you're having to share them, Three of Cups. And so it's like your money is having to stretch on more people than necessary if those other people would pull their own weight with the Six of Pentacles in the reverse. So really having to address financial obligations that you have that may not be your problem, but you're making it your problem, and that's devaluing yourself because you're continuing to not speak on it and tell that person, hey, you need to have some self-value and stabilize yourself. You need to at least be showing some effort towards wanting to create stability for yourself instead of just constantly relying on me. That keeps us, Six of Materials in reverse, at a disharmony in our relationship. It's just, this also brings up material-based relationships, relationships that are just based on material things or just based on money. This sextile with Mars and Cancer is an opportunity for you to not only see that and feel that with the Cups energy a lot clearer, but then also sextiles are a doorway or an opportunity. So for you to walk into literally a fixed course with the Taurus of action towards cardinal, getting the ball rolling in new directions. So if you feel like there's disharmony in certain relationships, if you're pulling more weight than the other person, if this person is keeping you from being able to focus on yourself in certain ways that will really be vital to your growth right now for this year, for the next few years, and you're really feeling that intuitively, then there may be conversations that need to be had with this sextile. There may be new courses of action that you need to take and get the ball rolling so that people know you're about that business right now, right? It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be about it and actually do it and start moving like that and tell people, hey, at the end of May, I'm no longer paying for your rent. So So by the end of May, you need to have something figured out. And then at the end of May, when they're looking at you, you're like, all you have to do is hold your phone up and press play on the voice note you sent to them. On the 1st of May, I'm no longer paying you rent. That's all you need to do, right? Some of us want to talk too much and like give people so many chances. 3 of Cups, coddle them. Oh, it's always good vibes. And no, sometimes you have to 6 of Materials in reverse. Show them, as much as I can be giving and benevolent to you, I will make it apparent to you when you are not pulling your own weight for your own good, so that you can instill more value in yourself. That's sometimes the role that we have to play in other people's lives, is showing them that tough love so that they instill that stability for themselves and instill more confidence and value in their self and their ability to provide for themselves. So really simplistic, but strong way to end the week with this Taurus and Cancer energy. Without further ado, guys, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining another episode with us for AstroTea. We really enjoyed your energy so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday. So go ahead and check out our link tree so that you can join our email list. You can also order your AstroTea products like the calendar and the journal, and book your personal one-to-one consultation with us. So make sure to join us here on Clubhouse at AstroTea and over on Instagram to catch up between episodes. We also have a time stamping feature for our YouTube videos, so that's a really great way for you to follow along with us in the week and just literally watch or listen to that day. So definitely make sure you're following us on YouTube and any streaming platforms for the convenience of timestamps specifically on YouTube. But we love you all and have a terrific week.